You always want to go into a trade with a plan. You want to plan your trade and you want to trade your plan. Do not deviate from it. If the trade goes against you, it's fine. Swallow the loss. There's always another trade, right? Okay. Don't get all emotional about it and pissed off. Oh, this shit doesn't work. I fucking lost the trade. I followed what he said. It didn't fucking work. Not every trade is going to work out. That's just the way life goes. Okay. Not everything works out. You keep trying and you keep perfecting it. Future Cobra here. Took me all day yesterday to record this video. So I finished editing it today. I'm really glad to bring this to you guys. I've been getting a lot of questions about how do I enter into a trend that's already occurring? How do I know when is a good time to be buying the dip? Just questions like that. We've had a lot of uptrends and a lot of significant downtrends while we've been chopping around. You're never going to catch a perfect bottom to the tick. It just doesn't, trading doesn't work like that. So don't beat yourself up over it. It's fine. But this video, the purpose of it is going to be to show you how you can jump into a trend without getting a whole bunch of drawdown and being able to still ride that and be able to be profitable on lower timeframes if you're scalping during the day. So let's go ahead and get into it. And let's get started. So you guys have been seeing me use this tool quite a bit. And on TradingView, you just come down here to your third button, click the little arrow. And I use the Fib retracement and the Fib extension tool. Now, I used to use the Fib retracement tool exclusively, and it works, but there's some flaws with it because it doesn't do very well with predicting where your next trend is going to go, to be giving you targets. Okay. And that's what we want, right? We want targets to be able to buy in. We want targets to be able to take profits. When do I buy in? When do I sell? Rightfully so. Those questions tend to come from newer traders. So, and that's completely fine. You're still learning. That's why I'm here. So make sure that you smash that like and subscribe button down below, by the way, so you don't miss out on any videos like this or any of my analysis videos. So let's say that you totally missed this retrace, right? Like you kind of pussed out and you weren't really trying to buy this because it was such a massive sell-off. And then this happened and you're like, oh, well, crap, I missed the bottom. Okay, so that's fine. It's totally cool. I missed this too. But what did I do, right? I missed this bottom, but what you can do is you can measure this. So this is going to take 3 points and you're always going to want to be drawing this from left to right, okay? Don't draw backwards or any of that. You don't read right to left. You don't draw right to left. So just keep it left to right, okay? So starting on the left here from our pivot low, okay? We had this swing up, and you can project that against our next pivot point, right? So if we're back here and we're looking for targets, well, where are your targets going to be? Well, really depends how you're laddering into this, right? So if you're just going to be buying in now on this, you can certainly do that. However, you need to be careful and you need to protect yourself from downside. So one of the ways to do that, and I'll link the video up in the top left corner for you of the screen so that you guys can actually watch my video on support and resistance levels. But on these lower time frames, don't be afraid to get your chart messy. Draw every single support and resistance line that you can, because you're going to be wanting to find confluence in these levels, okay? That's how you're going to be picking these spots. So let's say you just buy in here and you're looking for a target for the upside, right? So it looks like we've got a resistance level here, got another resistance level up in here, just above the 0.5. And then you've got one here, which is right about the 618 up here in the golden pocket. Okay. So those would be targets. Okay. So if you wanted your first target lower, you could just say, okay, well, just a quick scalp. I'll take half of my profit here and then let the rest ride. That's totally okay too. It's totally up to you how you want to be laddering in and out of your positions. However, you should always be laddering in and out of your positions. If you're looking at buying, don't take $1,000 and put it all in on one entry, because if the price moves against you, now you have no way to dollar cost average and bring your average entry down if the price moves against you and you're experiencing drawdown, right? Well, that's not good. If you can't lower your average entry, then that means that your potential for upside gain is that much less. Now, there is a lot of information out there about saying, okay, well, you never want to add to a losing position. Now, with scalping and stuff on a lot lower time frames, it's a little bit different because the price is fluctuating so quickly. So you just have to be really careful, and you need to manage your risk really well. I also have a video on risk management, so you guys can take a look at that up there as well. Moving on, right? So let's say we just bought in here and these are your first targets. So here's what would have happened. You did experience drawdown. Okay. So if you would have entered here on this candle, you would have seen some drawdown, not very much, maybe just like 1% or 2. But this is another level of support that you have down here, right? So this is probably where you would have wanted to be laddering in another buy. I always normally have at least 3 to 4 ladders when I'm doing this, because sometimes you can leave the positions open for a lot longer. So if the price does move against you and you have some drawdown, taking your average entry and moving it as low as possible is going to give you more upside when it does go in the direction that you're wanting. Okay. So this would have been an absolutely fantastic trade. Okay. You would have hit your first take profit here. And then even if you moved your stop to break even, okay, you would have taken profit, you would have gotten stopped out. You could have re-entered here on support, done the same thing again, re-entered here on support, done the same thing again. It kept moving higher. It's the next day now. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. You're looking to get into another trade. And now all of these levels of support and resistance that you've had, they're not resistance anymore. These are all now support, right? You're building your chart here with support and resistance lines. We've been in this price area before, so let's look higher for resistances, right? So we've got one here, okay? You've got one there. It looks like you've got one here when you reached your high. Starts getting a little messy up here. There's a lot of areas up here, and you don't have to be perfect. They just need to be estimates. So you've drawn out your support and resistance lines, and you're looking at entering here. Okay, so how do we gauge where we want to be entering if we want to be entering into a long here? It looks like we got some good support here, and we want to be entering into a long position. Do the same thing again. We take our last swing low to our swing high, project it against our most recent pivot. And now you've got targets here. Well, wouldn't you know, one of your support and resistance levels up here lines up perfectly with your 382. Okay. So now that you have these support levels drawn down here to the downside, now you have a more clear picture of invalidation levels for your trading idea, right? So you always want to go into a trade with a plan. You want to plan your trade and you want to trade your plan. Do not deviate from it. If the trade goes against you, it's fine. Swallow the loss. There's always another trade, right? Okay. Don't get all emotional about it and pissed off. Oh, this shit doesn't work. I fucking lost the trade. I followed what he said. It didn't fucking work. Not every trade is going to work out. That's just the way life goes. Okay. Not everything works out. You keep trying and you keep perfecting it. And honestly, you shouldn't be doing this with a live account to start off with anyway. You should be practicing this with a paper account so that you can get used to the strategy, see if it works for you, experiment with different time frames, whatever you're comfortable with trading, and then proceed to do it on a small live account. Wealth longevity. That's what the name of the game is. Take money from the market, don't give any back. We're looking at entering into a long here. We've got more targets for the upside, and we've got some pretty solid confluence with a lot of levels of our Fibonacci, right? With our support and resistance levels. So it looks like you've got a zone up here just above the 886, which would be a nice zone to be taking profit. It looks like you've got a zone here right in the golden pocket. That's solid resistance. That would be a nice take profit. And then you've got this zone here, obviously, which is your 382, which could also potentially be a take profit zone. So this would probably be another ladder, and then maybe one down here, and then your stop would probably be below this, right? That would be a stop, okay? Okay, so we'll stop there. And you actually ended up getting your other entry, which is awesome. Didn't hit your stop, which is really, really nice. So you would have entered here and you would have actually lowered your entry by half if you doubled down here. Your average entry would have been, I guess, 34,560. Your stop would have been here, and you would have caught all this upside. On 10x leverage, if you're scalping, that would have been a 60% trade, a 5-to-1 risk reward ratio. That's a fantastic trade, right? Okay. As usual, if you're doing proper trade management, once you hit this first target, you move your stop up here to entry. So now this just turns back into another level of support. And if your entry was here, now your entry is now your stop. So this would have been your stop or whatever. So you hit all three of these targets. This would have been taking half profit. This would have been taking probably another 25% profit. And this is probably where you would have been closing the rest of your trade out. And you had two opportunities for this as well. It dipped down, found support, tried to push higher, made a lower high. This would have, on this candle close, this would have been a really big red flag to be taking profits and closing out any long positions that you have. So to measure downside, all you're going to want to do is you have to, in order to measure upside, you have to start measuring with upside, right? Okay, that's what you have to do first. When you're measuring downside, you have to measure a down move first, a correction. So this was our first correction, and then we had a pivot here to make a lower high. And sure enough, this would definitely be some downside movement here. So I probably wouldn't be hopping into this right away. I would probably trying to be waiting until there's some kind of a pullback to get a clearer picture. If you see something like this, you don't just want to enter into a short here, okay? Now, that's exactly why. It found support here, we popped up. If you were in a short, this would have been a losing trade. At the end of the day, you want to minimize your losses. You want to have a good idea and good handle on your risk management because the name of the game is stack sats. And if you're doing low time frame stuff like this, I don't really recommend this for beginners, but if you do want to learn this and you want to practice it, go ahead and go down here to the trading panel or whatever, and just do paper trading. Click this, connect a paper trade account, whatever, and I think you can change all these settings, obviously, or whatever. Trading settings. I think you can go in here and you can change all these settings. So, let's say you want to start with 500, you can set this to 10,000, a million, whatever, and you can go through and paper trade on the chart here with the actual with their order book and stuff like that. So you can do that. It does work, and I do highly recommend using that. You might have to do that on something like Coinbase, however, in order to actually be able to trade the chart. So it doesn't let you do it on BitMEX, but just pick a Bitcoin chart that it'll let you trade on, and you can go ahead and trade just like you would on an exchange, would take profits and stop losses, and it'll keep track of everything for you. That way you don't have to write everything down. All right, that's about it, guys. I know that it was kind of a short video. And again, if you're a newer trader, I don't really recommend scalping on low timeframes like that. It's very risky. It's very difficult, especially when you haven't been trading as long and you don't have the skills or the knowledge that's required to be able to effectively manage your positions and manage your risk. So if you're a new subscriber here, make sure that you smash the like and subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any of my videos here. And make sure that you check all the tutorials that I have. I've got a lot of tutorials in there about support and resistance, high block capital, using the Trezor hardware wallet, how to set it up, all of that good stuff. Everything that you would need to know as a beginner trader, I have tutorials on. So make sure that you check those out. With all that said, I hope that you guys have a really wonderful weekend and happy trading.